Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this virtual open house that focuses more specifically on the middle school. We'll get started right away because we have a lot to cover and we want to provide as much time as possible for conversation and Q&A. I'd now like to introduce our four middle school experts who will be answering frequently asked questions in an interactive quiz bowl. So before we get started, I'd like you to be able to meet each of our experts and ask them to introduce themselves and tell us maybe where they came from and how long they've been at MIS. So let's get started with our first expert, which is Denise Hitchen. She is the middle and senior school admissions specialist.
Sorry. Hi and welcome everyone to this middle school open day. We're thrilled to have you here with us. Obviously, this is just one forum today for us to be able to share the information that we have for you about middle school, but there'll be lots of other opportunities after today. So as Terry says, my name's Denise Hitchen. I'm an admissions coordinator here at MIS, and I've had the pleasure and the privilege of working here for 10 years in admissions. Originally came here as a parent, so our daughter also graduated from here. So I have a wealth of experience along with my colleagues here who either have been a parent, had a child here, or do have children here. So we can give you information both from a parent perspective as well as from an admissions. So we'd be happy to answer any questions you have through this middle school open day and afterwards. So you'll hear from me more throughout this session. So hello and welcome everyone.
Now we'd like to introduce our middle school experts. So Natalie, would you like to begin?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Millette. I am the middle school principal. This is my third year as principal. I'm originally from Canada. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I will turn it over to Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm from Germany. And
what grade are you in?
I'm in sixth grade.
Perfect. How long have you been at MIS?
I've been at MIS for about 6 years now, I think.
So since pretty much the beginning?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And now over to my other friend, Jasper.
My name is Jasper Blazik. I've been at MIS for 2 years now. I'm in 7th grade, and I'm also one of the student councils for my grade.
All right, well, thank you very much. I am happy to meet you all, and thank you for being with us today to everyone. Let's now get started with our quiz bowl. So I'm going to use question 1 as our example to tell you a little bit more about how all of this is going to work. So this is a trivia quiz, the middle school edition. I hope you are all ready to play. So the following questions will help to decide if MIS is the right fit for your child, your family, and your future. So I'm going to, are you ready? I do hope so. Everyone's locked in at this point. All right, let's use this question as the first example, and I'll tell you how this can work. So you'll see on the screen the question, can my child transition from a different curriculum into the IB program, or in this case, the MYP, the middle years program? You will also see the same question copy pasted into the chat. So if you haven't been looking at the chat, I would invite all of you to open your chat so you can see this question as well in the chat. Now, families out there, take a guess as to what you think how we operate at Munich International School. This doesn't mean that this is how all schools operate. The answer to this question is based off of how we believe and how things do work here at Munich International School. So I'll give you a couple seconds. I see that we have some people who are posting in the chat right now. So go ahead and take a guess. Do you think it's A? No, they must come from another IB school. Oh, we have most people from the chat right now guessing that it's C. Yes, it is possible to transfer from a different system. Now, I believe that I would like to ask Denise Hitchen, our senior school and middle school admissions expert, to weigh in on this. We have all C's in the chat. So Denise, would you mind telling us what is the right answer. Are they correct?
So-
Is it C?
Everyone is correct, I'm happy to say. So it is C. So yes, we have every year we have over 200 new students start at MIS, many coming from very different academic backgrounds. So we do have children transferring into MIS from Germany, from the UK, US, Japan, Sweden, Italy. So we're well versed in helping to welcome and to enroll and to help students feel at home at MIS, coming from many different academic backgrounds in pretty much nearly every grade level. So whether you have a child and maybe entering our early childhood class, or indeed entering into grade 11, we do enroll children from pretty much most academic backgrounds into MIS each year. So yes, thankfully, the answer is C.
Thank you, Denise. But I do have to say, I am a little bit curious. Maybe we can learn a little bit more about one of our middle school experts. Now, I know Sophie from 6th grade, you've been here since you were just a baby, but Jasper, you didn't tell us, if I remember correctly, when exactly did you join MIS? And did you come from a different school system that you're aware of?
So yeah, I came from a other IB school, and I came here 2 years ago. And before that, I used to always also be in IB schools, but I did the transfer in the beginning. I did from a normal school to an international school. It wasn't that hard if you once you get the hang of it, because mostly we speak English. So if you want to learn, if you're probably gonna learn a bit English to speak mostly with everybody, but every language here is really normal, so no one's gonna be an outsider. Because I think it's really easy to transfer here once you kind of get the hang of how everything works.
Oh, I'm liking you. You definitely seem like an expert already. I believe we are now ready for our next question in this quiz bowl. So you will see this copied in the chat as well. Question number 2, how does the middle school foster belonging at the beginning of the school year? A, house system and grade retreats, which maybe many people who are joining us today from potential families don't know exactly what the house system is, or grade retreats. B, guided discussion in homeroom. C, clubs and after school activities. Or D, all of the above. I'll give people a couple seconds. So far, we've got 2 D's in our chat right now. Another D. Oh, a lot of consensus in the chat. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit more. Well, I think it's time for us to learn the answer. I would like to call on Ms. Millett. Would you mind weighing in on this?
Sure, happy to. And yes, the answer is D, all of the above. We spent a lot of time at the beginning of the year making sure that every student feels connected to their teachers as well as to the students in their class. So we actually have a 3-day orientation at the beginning of the year where we focus on getting to know each other. We also have a very active and vibrant house system where students have a chance to interact with students who are not necessarily in their class. We do a lot of motivating activities that are meant to get the students to come together. We spend a lot of time in homeroom, also making sure that the students feel comfortable learning with each other. And there's also a wide variety of clubs and activities that students can both do during the school day and after school. So lots of things that we do to promote belonging.
Thank you. And Jasper already touched on this a little bit from the perspective of languages, but let's talk about these grade retreats. I believe both of you have been on a grade retreat. Not yet? Just 5th grade?
So the grade retreats happen in grades 5, 6, and 7 later in the year, and in grade 8 they happen at the beginning of the year. So they have been on grade retreats last year.
Maybe Sophie could tell us a little bit about last year's grade retreat, and where will you go this year?
So last year we went to Königsdorf.
Yeah.
And we were in like
A camp?
like a little camp where you have like rooms and like bathrooms and a cafeteria where you can like get your food at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we went hiking and did like different friendship and like teamwork activities.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we're going to Rothenburg.
Yeah, Jasper, you want to say something? I'm ready.
Went to Rothenburg last
I
year.
remember Rothenburg. It was a very fun trip. The last night was a bit crazy, but we all had a lot of fun. So you might have been like split up in like smaller groups as homerooms, which is probably just gonna be your main class. And then you're probably be those like smaller groups are just also people that are in rooms. This you Sophie might have forgot to say if you, like or not like by us if you're like in a room together, which will probably make a like stronger bond with whoever's in that room with you, probably gonna like a small bond, or if you're already friends, stronger bond. And then we all did like team building activities, like friendship activities. We also did some like other activities like going outdoors. Some people did not like that, but in the end they all said it was fun, and yeah, that was a good trip.
Where are you going this year? Do you know?
No, I do not.
I can tell you where the grade 7s and 8s go. So in grade 7, Jasper will be participating in an Outward Bound camp. And the camp is actually near here in Bavaria. And then in grade 8, they again do an Outward Bound camp, this time in Bad, Austria. So an Outward Bound focuses on outdoor experiential learning, a lot of work together as a team, but also stretching your limits and trying things that you may not have tried before.
Well, I've seen the pictures and they're awesome, and I want to go on a retreat one day too, I do hope. Well, okay, let's pop on over to question number 3. All MIS students have to study German. So this will be in the chat. We already have some answers. A, true, some people are saying. Got another A. All right, let's hear this one from, I think, Ms. Millet, could you answer this question also? Is it true? All MIS students have to study German, even if they've come from anywhere in the whole wide world? Is that true?
True. All students study German at a level that is appropriate for them because we want them to feel comfortable in the community and to be able, to learn to communicate with people beyond MIS. So as Jasper mentioned, at MIS, our go-to language is English, but beyond MIS, the community's go-to language is German. So everybody does learn German, but at an appropriate level for them.
So, Sophie, are you from Germany originally?
Yes.
So, how's your German?
Good.
Okay, just checking. Now, Jasper, where are you from originally?
I'm from Ethiopia.
How's your German?
Very good.
After 2 years, I believe you said. 2 years in Germany.
Yeah, 2 years in Germany now. But my parents are both German, so I just started to catch some stuff when my parents were speaking German, so now I can speak German pretty well.
All right, that seems like
both Jasper and Sophie take German as native speakers, so we call it German A, German Language and Literature. About 50% of our students in any grade level take what's called German B, so as a language acquisition. And in those classes, again, students are placed in a class based on their level of proficiency. So although Jasper's only lived here for 2 years and is a native speaker, I have lived here for 2 years and am most definitely not a native speaker. I would be in really a beginner German level class, and then we have essentially what would be qualified as an intermediate class, and then classes for students who are not yet fully bilingual but are getting close.
And I would love it if you take the moment to point out that last year, I believe a barefoot pathway was created by middle schoolers. Could you expand on that a little bit? Because that was a part of the German program, if I remember correctly.
It was part of I think it was grade 5 and 6 students who were in the German language acquisition program who did that. It was initiated by one of our German teachers who really loves outdoor experiential learning as well as teaching German. And so she took her class outside and they worked together on this project to create a barefoot path. And they had an opportunity the students had an opportunity to use their newly acquired German skills. These were really more of our beginner students, to use their German skills to communicate as they were creating this path. So they learned a ton of vocabulary and had an opportunity to use German in real time, in real life, essentially, as they were working on this project.
Well, I think this is a great opportunity to pop over to our next question because it transitions us pretty nicely. Now, this one goes back into English language acquisition. So in the chat, you'll see this question: my child doesn't have a high level of English. Can they still come to MIS? So in the middle school, we're talking about the type of support available. A, yes, they can come to MIS, but there's no support available to them. So families would have to handle that on their own outside of school through tutoring, for example. Or is it B, yes, there's support available? Or is it C, no, students must be native or near native in order to join MIS? Let's look in the chat and see what people are saying. So far, it looks like B is the answer. These families seem to know a lot about us already. So let's see if they're correct. How about Denise? Would you like to weigh in on the answer to this question? And then we'll pop over to our middle school principal to expound on it.
So the answer is B. Yes, there is support available. And we admit students into MIS with little or no English into junior school, and then certain levels in middle school. So we can have beginners through to absolute beginners coming into MIS, because we offer an EAL program, which is English as an additional language program. So I would like to then just hand this over to Natalie now, who will be able to explain how this works day to day for the children.
Sure. So absolutely, yes, we have students who are at a very beginning stage of English, all the way through to students who are fluent. And for students who are not yet ready to study fully in English, we offer an EAL program. Those students, again, depending on their level of proficiency, will either be pulled out of the regular English class, just the English class, to learn English with a smaller group of students and to focus more on language acquisition. The rest of their classes are done with the students in their class, and we have an English language acquisition teacher who will either support the teacher in providing tools to ensure that the students who are new to English are able to learn math, for example, or science in English, or the teacher will also be part of the math class, science class, to be able to provide additional support. So we call that push-in support, whereas on occasion we will also pull out the student to provide them with some of the real basic things that you need to learn when you're learning a new language, such as vocabulary, grammar, writing skills, etc. So we do a little bit of both, depending on the needs of the student. And
English language, sorry, go ahead, Natalie.
I was going to say, we find that generally speaking, our very beginners tend to spend about 2 years in the EAL stream before they're ready to move in fully and join their Anglophone or English-speaking peers.
I was going to add in that here in admissions, when a parent inquires about this exact topic, parents are obviously extremely concerned about how comfortable their children will be and how quickly they will acquire that level of English. But we always find within a few weeks, the parents are saying to us, I don't know what we were worried about. It's all happening very quickly. So over to you, Kerry.
Yes, I would actually like to bring Sophie and Jasper into this also. Now, from a belonging standpoint, what is it like to be someone who's growing in their English level? Like Sophie, when you joined, obviously you were just a tiny little girl, but you were probably learning English as a second language. And then also Jasper, you were already talking about what it's like to be at a school with people who are at very different levels of English. What's it like in terms of being a student and belonging? Sophie, do you want to start?
So it is very nice because like you can, like, if you're not that good in English, it's easier to learn, so you don't have that much stress already with like the next language. And then you just like have an easy way, like easier to learn English. And like,
Do you remember what it was like to learn English when you first started here? Or was that too long ago for you?
kind of.
Kind of a long time ago. Yeah. What about you? What do you
Yeah,
think?
Jasper, what about you?
So I didn't really have a problem with learning English because I had 2 to 3 years in America to get me started on that. So that's when I started to learn English. But I'm still in a different type of EAL class. I don't want to talk like too much about it because this might be one of the questions I don't know. And I think like if you're in EAL class, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in it or if you're not, because either way, if you have like people around you who include you or you include the people, it'll make them very happy. And if you have friends, they'll know what you mean. Like some people can only speak in English, some people can't. They can only speak in German. Some people can't speak both and speak a third language. But there's always gonna be one person who's gonna speak a language you speak. So you're never gonna be that one person no one understands. So you always have at least one person that will be your person to talk to.
Nice.
That's really, really encouraging. So thank you very much for the perspectives. Let's hop on over to the next question. And this one ties kind of back to the barefoot pathway, for example, that we were talking about previously. How does MIS foster real world learning? So you'll see that one copied into the chat as well. And it looks like we have some parents who are already popping in with an answer. Whoa, okay, so far people think it's D, all of the above. Career days, transdisciplinary learning, which maybe someone's going to have to explain what that means. And C, student-led and organized projects such as the Barefoot Pathway and events. But the middle school, I have to say, is especially active with student-led projects such as the Solutionary Summit. So I want to pop right over to, you'll see them in a second. Let's get talking about this. What's the answer? Anybody want to start first?
Sure, I can jump in. So the answer is all of the above. We do a lot. We know that students learn best when they're motivated and engaged in learning. And see, Jasper is agreeing with me. And that happens when they feel that there's relevance to their learning. So when there's an answer to why are we learning this? And so we do a lot of things that, so you mentioned the student-led projects. So students often are able and have the opportunity in their different courses to transfer the content that they've learned into a project. Maybe Jasper can talk a little bit about the project that they're doing in INS right now with the artifacts. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So in INS, Individuals and Societies, one of our many classes, we're learning about artifacts. It doesn't matter which time period. I mean, it'd be good if it's a bit time, like before us, because then you can learn more about it and you don't think you already know everything. And it's really surprising how much a single item can tell so much about a person, also like what their status or like also one of the things we learned in INS social hierarchy was. So it like one thing can tell a lot about one person.
So this project is an example also of transdisciplinary learning in the sense that although Jasper's talking about it through the lens of INS, Individuals and Societies, which is social sciences, so he's learning history, but he will also have an opportunity to create a 3D model of an artifact that he has chosen to study, and then we'll be having a museum-style exhibition where all of the students and parents will be able to go through to see what all of the different artifacts are. So in that sense, the students are having an opportunity to use some design skills, use some artistic skills, also to work on their presentation skills in order to develop this, to complete this project. And so one of the things, so option B was transdisciplinary learning, and that simply means that we pull ideas and concepts from multiple subjects and bring them all together to make it more similar to what we do in everyday life. So very few of us continue to just work in one subject in isolation. We bring them all together. And that helps us to create real world projects that the students are really engaged and interested in. We also do career days. We actually have currently for our grade 8s a small careers course where the students have an opportunity to kind of look into what is of interest to them and where do they see themselves going in their future. And so they do, you know, they think about themselves, which in middle school is actually really appropriate. Students want to be thinking about where they see themselves in their future. And then we work on, okay, so if your goal is to be an astronomer or a football player, then what are the things that you need to do from now in grade 6 and in grade 7 up to the end of high school and into university and beyond in order to be able to achieve your goals and your dreams?
Well, thank you for that answer, everybody, because we could talk all day about all of the different student-led and organized projects and transdisciplinary learning units. It's the middle school, I think, is so high achieving in this regard, but we don't have time all day. We have to pop over to question number 6, which you're going to see in the chat right now. Which of these, this is a bit of a technical question, which of the foreign languages, A, B, C, D, is not available to middle schoolers? But this is a bit of a complex question, actually, because the middle school has so many different opportunities for language learning. So I know this question could apply to actual classes, but there's so much more going on. So we have some BBB Turkish answers in the chat. Let's see if they're totally right about this. Ms. Millett, would you weigh in first?
Sure. So actually, there needed to be an E option here because the answer is a bit complex. So yes, officially the correct answer is B. We do not offer a formal Turkish class. However, for students who might speak Turkish at home or have spent some time in Turkey and want to continue learning Turkish, we do offer a multilingual program which happens during the school day. And what we do is we hire local teachers to come in so that students who have a language that is already important to them can continue to study that language. And for all of our middle school students, starting in grade 6, we offer them the opportunity to study a third language, and they get to choose between French, Mandarin, and Spanish.
And I know that pretty recently, there's an opportunity for a language exchange just for middle school students. Is that correct as well? Where students can partner with each other to put you on the spot. I know you're not coordinating this program in particular, but maybe somebody else knows about it a little bit, or you've seen the posters around campus.
Yeah, have you seen the posters around campus?
I've seen that posted, but I always thought, what does that mean?
Yeah, so it is something that's brand new. I think it's an initiative actually coming from the senior school where they are offering students an opportunity to practice a language with a senior school student who speaks that language. That's what I think it is. So we often have things that pop up that are initiatives from our older students who want to offer an opportunity to work with younger students. And in this case, what you're referring to is languages. So an opportunity to practice Swahili, for example, with our Swahili speakers.
Exactly. Yes, I believe this is a brand new initiative, and it is probably a service of action project from the senior school. So I think you're right about how this one's being organized. But that's 3 different ways to study language at MIS, which is pretty impressive. Let's go to question number 7. And I definitely want to hear from Sophie and Jasper to see if you guys can answer this one for families. But first, families, what do you think the culture is like here? Do students have recess even in bad weather? As you may be aware, in Bavaria, from our campus, we look at the Alps. We get a lot of pretty extreme weather. So what do you all think? Do students still have recess even if there's snow on the ground, or well, we get a lot of different types of weather here. We have a couple families weighing in right now in the chat. Let's see what they think. A, we stay inside if it rains or if it's too cold, or B, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes. People seem stumped about this one. B, we have one family who thinks it's B. So what's the correct answer? Jasper, would you start, please?
Yeah, so I'm sorry for that family who said B. There is no such thing as bad clothes. There's only clothes you can choose at the wrong time. We have many days where it's going to be rainy or it's going to be a bit too cold. And as the very helpful teachers say, don't do that. We don't want you people to get sick and miss more school. So it's A.
I'm going to jump in. Jasper is correct. By and large. So we do have an outdoor recess every day, and there are some times where it is pouring rain where we don't have them go out. However, there are lots of times where it's kind of rainy and we do have them go outside, and sometimes where we allow students to have a choice. I will say that our junior school kids, up to grade 4, they go outside, rain or shine, hail, massive snowstorm, it doesn't matter. But in middle school, where kids stop bringing all of the clothing that they need, there are times where it's just too much. But I would say—
And Sophie, did you want to weigh in on this as well? I know you can also go into the Nexus now to play chess and do other things. So what do you do during recess?
Well, if it is in the recess, then you can go into your classroom where you can play fun games or activities. And then in the Nexus, you can also go in and read or play chess or other games or puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be there has to be a teacher watching what you do.
Yeah. Students also have the opportunity to go to the makerspace often every day during recess. Our music teacher also provides an opportunity for students to go into the music room and play the drums, for example. So there's lots of things that students can do. And we also have a massive campus where students can just get lost in the woods and play. So lots of options.
We don't lose them, by the way.
They always come back.
That's just an expression. Zero students have been lost on the campus. Well, we only have a few minutes left. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to cover all the topics that we wanted to cover. So we're sorry if we weren't able to answer some of your burning questions. But here's your opportunity to write in the chat if you have a question. And for the last about 5 minutes, we'll be happy to have one of our experts answer your questions. So we have someone typing right now. Actually, I believe they're typing, would you like to ask any questions? So feel free to type in the chat if you have a question about the homework policy or maybe the device policy. These were questions that we wanted to get to, but unfortunately,
Can I just jump in there, Kerry, because I do believe one of the parents did ask about our homework policy, so perhaps Natalie can just jump in while the questions appear on the chat.
Sure, I can jump in with that. It's funny because Jasper and Sophie and I were talking about that on our way over here. So in middle school, there is a little bit of homework at an appropriate level. The purpose of homework should always be to allow students to review the learning that they experience in class that day. And so, and to really confirm if they are confident in that new learning. So some of the homework that all students will have, even starting in grade 5, is a little bit of math homework, for example, to be able to practice those new skills. Always reading is prioritized. And then in languages, particularly German, but also in the third languages, an opportunity to review some of the vocabulary, for example. Then as students get older, Jasper here, for example, who's talking about the fact he's got a lot of homework these days, the students spend a little bit more time finishing off projects, preparing for upcoming assessments. So doing some studying in preparation for a math test, for example, and that, so there will be an incremental increase in work done outside of school between grade 5, where there's very little, up to grade 8, where there's a little bit more in preparation for high school, but always in the vein of being able to show that you can do the learning and demonstrate the learning independently at home without the help of your teacher, and then come into school ready for new learning the next day. Right?
Thank you. And actually, Jasper, you just got the most wonderful question in the chat. Let me read it to you. Okay, it says, hi, my name is Kate. I'll be joining MIS in grade 5 next year. So Jasper, you said you are in student council. Can you tell me about student leadership at MIS?
Okay, so I think this is a thing we started, like student council. I don't know when we started that.
We've always had student council.
Always had student council. And my parents also had student council in their school, so I don't think it's something really new. But student council itself is something that you try to give like the students that, let's say you have a really good idea for the school. Let's say, because today with all the pollution, everything, the schools and other organizations have been trying to get more solutions. And we've also had a group about that in our school. But student council is just something you can help with people if you want to say something or you have an idea, you can give it to us. We'll tell the school about this. So we're like a small group of people who can do a lot of things. Let's say, because like last year I wasn't in student council, and I'm gonna say you don't have that much voice as you have a student council.
How did you get on student council?
So
how did you get on this year?
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I'm pretty popular. So knowing all these people, I just said, please vote me. I made a speech up in 2 minutes. It worked. So.
So what you're saying is there was an election. Who voted for? It was like what? Who voted for you?
All my friends.
Okay. In what grade?
7th grade.
Right. So 7th graders vote for 7th grader representatives, right? How many kids in 7th grade are on student council? 2 or 3?
This year, 3.
3.
2 years ago, it was only 2.
2.
So I was very surprised, and then when you said the last name last year, so I was like, what?
Yeah, we now have 3 representatives per grade. They're chosen by their peers in that grade, and we have a student council supervisor who helps the students direct their energies towards, as Jasper said, identifying problems that the students are, or things that the students would like to work on, and then coming up with solutions to those problems. Another form of student leadership that we have are actually our house captains. Do you know anything about house captains? No, I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't think we're.
So the house captains, each of the houses, we have 6 houses, and they have 2 representatives from grade 8, and they lead each of those houses in developing activities that again support belonging. And so there's a lot of more just fun activities. There's lots of little competitions. So next week we actually have our Halloween competition. So there's going to be, everybody's going to be dressing up in costumes. A couple weeks ago we had for Oktoberfest, Wear Your Trachten Day. And so the houses will accumulate points based on how many students participate. And the house captain's job is to inspire their house members to participate in all these activities.
And then we finish the end of the school year with the middle school sports day.
True.
Yeah, and Kate's excited. I think she'll be running for student council. So Kate, I think people would be welcome to hear from you really soon. Well, that was a wonderful question, but we do have one more. And so now I am going to say thank you so much to Jasper and Natalie and Sophie. You all have been the most fantastic experts, and we have to let you go back to school now, I do believe. So for our final question, as we'll say goodbye to you all and thank you so much. The last question, though, is going to be for Denise. Okay. So I've got it up on the screen now, and you can see it in the chat. Our final question is, how can I get my child into MIS? So Denise, I am going to spotlight you and let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Kerry. So I'm happy to say it's none of the above. So the answer is D. We accept students, as I said earlier, we have over 200 new students start at MIS, and the way to start is either to make an inquiry with us regarding your interest, or at the end of this month, early November, we will start accepting applications for entry into the 25-26 school year. So I know many of the people on this open day right now are interested in that school year. So there are different ways to do it, but one of the main ways is to visit our website, where you can enter your email address and enter your interest, and we will then contact you with a one-time email to let you know that the application process is open. The other way is to visit our website, where you can find lots of information there to help expand, maybe answer any questions that you have. You're also welcome to send an email to us to admissions@mis-munich.de, where we will come back to you with with the answers to your questions. If you do have children who are not just middle school, but you have junior school and senior school children, then we will be holding another couple of open days with a focus on those schools. So it is possible to get into MIS, as I mentioned, and you are welcome to apply through our website for entry in the 25-26 school year. If, however, you are interested in places in this school year, places are extremely limited in quite a number of the grades, and therefore you're welcome to give us a call directly, or again send an email. So we are thrilled every year to welcome many new families to MIS, and we very much look forward to hearing from you, and then hopefully your children and your family becoming part of our fantastic MIS community. So now I'm going to hand back over to my colleague, over to Kerry, but also just to say a lots of thanks to you for taking part in today, which I hope that you found valuable and interesting, and we look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone. We just wanted to say one more time that we appreciate you joining us today. We hope it was helpful, and please, if you have any other questions, absolutely feel free to email admissions@mis-munich.de. Have a wonderful rest of the day.